Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Highlighted event of 2021. The remnants of Bedwardism on the hills of Kevin Simit called Sago.
When I came down here, I was living into a Wakadab. You know about Wakadab? You build a house. You build a house with some stick, and then you put some what name again? This thing I use white.
The white mall.
Alright, something like that. You use that to build your house. That's the house I was living in.
What year was that?
Eh?
What year was
I
that?
came here to live. Let me see if I can remember, guys. Pretty long, you know. I'm living here for the past 36 years, right? When I came here, I was, you know, the $50 pay for $50. That's $50 a month I pay for my rent. $50 a month, so you know that's pretty long. When I came, lots of people who live for better light. They dress in white. There was the church over there. If you look over there, you see the church?
Yeah.
So the church over there. So that's where they go for worshiping. Early in the morning, you hear the bell ring. If somebody die, you hear the bell ring. 12 o'clock, you hear the bell ring, etc. So they was poor. When I came, they raised chicken, them sell coal, and they don't have no children and they don't have no husband. The thing about it was they don't keep man nor woman. They just stay as they were. Themselves, stay by themselves. They wasn't supposed to deal with no man not supposed to deal with no woman. That's that's their rules. So how I get to live here now is because somebody died, there would be an empty room. And so a young person would come in with lots of warning what to do and what not to do when you come in this place, because this place was strict, you know. Very, very strict. But when I came, bed was already died and buried. I should have told her that. So, but it was the Bedouinite who was still here, and a lot of them was here. Whole heap of them. And this place was just in one, a big place called 67 August Road, still called that. Bedouin Churchyard, still called that. And so somebody died, another young person get a room to rent. Come with strict thing, you can't, at 6 o'clock, you can't make no noise in yourself. On Sunday, you can't say your nail on a piece of zinc for broke down. So these people was very strict. And so as soon as somebody died, there's another young person come, because they don't have no offspring, you know. It was just them alone. No family member, just them alone. And again, I said they were very poor. Government would send, every 12 o'clock a van would bring food for them. I'm just telling you what me know, you know.
Yeah.
People would bring food from the government, give them food at 12 o'clock and get them food. Christmas time, nearly Christmas time, they would get them clothing from the government, different free places, put things together. Every December they come in and then get them clothes. And they would be here doing them thing, doing them little thing, doing them thing, very, very active. But it comes a time now when the owner, the so-called owner then, said the place is her because she was paying taxes all along. So she's about to cut up the land and let young people own their own home and land, right? And I was in for that, of course. I would love to own my own home and my own piece of land. Then in a little walk land bedroom, you know? A little breeze blow, you hear shh. Is the mal dropping down on your bed or your table anyway, you know? You understand? That's what was happening. So, after when they plan to survive them place, them get, what you call it now? Those men who come and measure up. The surveyor came, measure up, lick down, tear down, get out the lots, so people would get their lots. I was living right over here, and I'm walking on that, so I stayed. The owner was saying, who said, if we have the first preference, right? So who live in here have the first preference. If I want to see where I am, I want to shift somewhere else, it's up to me. I wanted was to see where I was, right? So everybody just choose to do what they're doing and do what they're doing. So they choose the other place around there named Big Yard, a big house around there, where they take the rest of all people bring around there to get the whole land to survey, so them could sell it out. And that's what they did. You see, because them don't use to the trap down like, just sit down, because sometimes them around here, you know, them raise them little fool, them sell a little fool as I tell already, them pick up some stone and put at them doorway thing, and then KSAC come and fix up them place. All them do them things properly. That's what them did. So they was very active when they was here, but the moment they took them around and put them in the big yard now, you find them dead, one behind the other, one died behind the other. And so everybody just died out. Elise Kelly, running Africa, came here one Saturday and where they repaired the house because it was very old and leaky. So she came and to take off all the zinc from the top and put on new zinc on there. And it was, right now it is in good condition. And it's only 2 people live there. Not better like now, but 2 people still there in a big house. They call it Big Yard. And so Elise Kelly stayed here Saturday and she stayed and she did a Running Africa program down by the police station. So she was here Saturday, Sunday. And they went all over river, you know, trying to, because there's a river, you heard that Bedwood, this song about Beat Them the Healing Stream, you heard that song? Mm-hmm. Right, so there's a stream over the river. Them people come all walk sick, I was told that I don't see that. All kind of sickness them have. You just take them over the river, who to drink some drink, who to bathe, get bathed, and they was delivered, they was better and gone back home. From foreign Jamaica everywhere. And so we were also told that Bedwood, he was the first. It wasn't Marcus Garvey the first, he was the first hero. The reason for that is he talked things and it happened, right? Like he was a prophet then. The government was against him. The reason for the government being against him, he had more followers than the government from one time. So police trying to hold him, they're trying to put something on him, you know. So guess what them said, the man mad. And it's Elise Kelly came here and make we know, go to the library and get some pamphlet and read about him. They came at home, you know, and took him out of his bed in the wee hours, like 2 o'clock, when everybody was asleep. That's the only time they could have gotten him. Karen go halfway, police go lock him up. So when the people got up in the morning, then discovered he wasn't around. Mm-hmm. So everybody started search and look for Bedwood, can't find until then you say in the halfway tree. There's a big crowd went down there. And so the big crowd went down there, heard, they have to let him go. And that one man was locked up for 2 times in the one day because of the behavior of the people. And so them lock him up, they have to let him go still. So he was a great man, I was told. And they take him one at the after when the stage, the lock-up business was finished away with. They take the man, same mad, and take him good, carry him to Bellevue, whichever, it wasn't Bellevue yet, but then carry my mother was same mad. And go give him joke, and when he get the one joke, that was the end of him. Oh. He stood there until he died. There's a place named Bedwood Burying Ground around there. That's where he buried. Okay. That's all I know. I heard about him. They were poor, remember I told her that?
Yes.
They went and sold just about everything they had.
To follow him?
To follow him, so they never fly, but not never so. When I came here to live, them poor, they don't have nothing. Them poor, remember I said government bring food for them. Government get close to them Christmas time, so they was very poor. They don't have nobody, so them have a relative. A cousin go and come and get them a $200. A brother go and come and cut them here or plait them here or wash with them, and them on their own. Everybody's on their own. When I came, I know all of them. They are very peaceful, quiet and things like that, but they was very, very poor. So actually the government is responsible for them, you know.
But you mentioned the area being very strict. What particular was strict about it? What were some of the customs?
In the whole, when there was alive and around here, you know, before the land was cut off, if you notice, we have road now, we have water, we have light. When I came here to live, no road, no light, no water. It was just a little country by itself. Bedwood Churchyard, in Anthony and Bedwood Churchyard. So it's after when a lot of them died out, the lady who was paying the taxes for this place decided to surveyor it, sell it out, so she pack up all them around in the big house, which I told her already. And so that's how they stay around, they did one behind the other, one behind the other. So
of natural causes?
Not really, no. Sometimes, you know, you're used to, you look at thing and you're not doing it again, you don't feel so good again, you know, and you're affected badly by it. You know? So they stood there and they died, one behind the other, one behind the other, so they're all finished.
Okay.
So that was the end of them. That's all I know about them.
So what we're kind of trying to do is to make a connection between the St. James pastor who recently passed away, Kevin Smith, right, and, you know, the kind of practices that he had in his church versus Bedwood, and if there's any similarities.
What I've heard about Bedwood, he was a healer. And you don't have to bring no money. Just come and him have him healing stream. Who to drink it, who to get a bathe. And that's all there was said.
He had a healing stream?
Yes, man, a very river there. Elise Kelly wanted was to use that stream to get bottled water from it so the people in our son could benefit from it. But you have some little giddy youth, them no easy, them not behave themselves, and them just want to run things and them just cancel it. You know? Them just want to take things for themselves, so then just leave it alone. Because problem going to be there. Then just leave it. But she was planning, to get bottled water from there. You know?
So was the stream not accessible to everyone? Or was it on his property?
No, you see, from the moment they heard about bottled water and money thing, Yeah. And from money I come up, agony. Yeah. And you don't want no pain or no agony, so just leave it alone. Yeah.
Oh, so the healing would only come from when
No, the healing is not there anymore, kind of mashed down there now. But the water is still coming up, so them could always deal with it away to get bottled water from it. You know? Whatever process they will go through, the spring is still there, whatever process it to go through, they will do it and get the bottled water.
No man, what I'm really getting at is whether or not the healing actually came from him or it was alleged to say his
let
water.
Let me tell you, I assume that he was a man of God. And then, you see, if he is a woman or a man of God, and you're really dedicated to God, you can just get a bottle of water and pray over it and drink it and you've been healed and delivered. I believe in that. So that's what was happening. And from he died, it's to none effect right now.
Yeah. But you wouldn't say that there's any similarities then with the St. James pastor?
No, sir. He was a man of God. I can attest to that. He was. The talk I get about him, he was a man of God.
As opposed to the St. James pastor then? As opposed to the St. James pastor?
No, the St. James pastor now is far different than this man. That man is a cult. You understand? He deal in a blood thing. Bedouin never deal with it. He deal with healing and deliverance. He deal with peace and love. Because Bedouin right now, again, may I repeat, make you stand up right here, sir. And I can say, proudly, I own a God place, But for now, it is loan unto me, this piece of property, through Bedouin. You know, so I'm a proud owner. And it was because of Bedouin. That man don't want man to go here now, he wouldn't be thinking of you. You're late for church, he might charge you. You want to live off of your saving account, etc., etc. You don't want nothing for you, but Bedouin that looks something for you. So I applaud him for that. Several people have their own house and land right now because of Bedouin. So he was for the people. He wasn't against the people. He was for the people. And he was with the people. That's why he had more followers than the government. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
We were in danger. Airbnb rental, says cult pastor barge in with band of boys.
I understand that you experienced the deceased Kevin Smith while a guest at one of his villas in Coral Gardens in Montego Bay, Jamaica. How did he introduce himself to you?
He showed up on the property and we had rented the property from someone else, so we didn't know who he was. He just showed up like on the second day, and he had a lot of people with him, and he had them come and get me and say that someone wants to meet you. And I come out to the car and he tells me that he is actually the owner of the property. And he came because somebody told him that people were on his property and he had no idea. And he was Kevin Antonil Smith, His Excellency, Crown Bishop, and a doctor, and a whole bunch of other titles, and he just told us that he came because he didn't know we were there, and he didn't know what was going on, and he had issues with the previous owner. He started to pull up paperwork and documents on his phone and personal text messaging between him and her, which I thought was a little bit weird and a little bit unprofessional, but I was like, okay. He even went on to tell me that he had talked to his lawyer, and his lawyer told him that he needed to throw all of us out of the property. And he started asking me individually, who's there? I was like, oh, it's just me. And I actually started escorting people out. Like, this is my friend, Chris. This is my friend. These are her kids. So he saw everybody. I brought everybody out one by one. It was like, this is who's here. So he was like, oh, okay, well, I maybe since it's kids, I'm gonna do y'all a favor and I'm gonna let you stay here. But my lawyer said I should throw y'all out. And I did question that. I said, that's what.
Who did you rent it from?
We rented this property from Carlette Palmer in December. So we got there in 2020. So we rented in December 2019. So, you have to do it months in advance. And we showed up February 2020, 21st, 2020. From Carlette Palmer through the Airbnb app. So we never met Bishop. We didn't know who he was. I communicated, and I even spoke to her, because normally you do everything through the app, but me and Carlette vibed and so much. We actually spoke on the phone a couple of times. We WhatsApped. So we built a relationship with Carlette before we ever got there, but all we ever knew was her. We came home one day from an excursion. Miss Diane, who was the only person other than some young boy. There was one young boy there, and Miss Diane when we got there. And, we bonded with her. We had a small baby. She got us a crib. She was very nice. The baby was cried a lot. She would help with the baby, so we liked her. So all we know is her. So when we pull up on this day, when Bishop is on the property, Miss Carlette is being fired. She has her bags packed, and, Bishop is telling us that she only told them about $80, which I don't understand the relationship in the first place, because I don't know that she even knew anything about this new owner of the property. But either way, or how he had the power to come in and fire the staff when, according to Miss Carlette, he didn't actually have possession of the property until February 27th. Miss Carlette produced a letter from her lawyer saying Bishop that sale was not final until February 27th, and we were due to be gone on February 26th. But either way, he came in, he fired her, he changed all the locks on the property, and he was telling us, oh, she's horrible, she stole the money, and that's what happened. So she left that day, and he replaced it with all of these young boys, they no older than 25, all young boys. One stayed in the garage, one stayed in the other. The other one was in the kitchen. He called one of them a house manager. It was crazy, but that's what happened. We stayed February 21st, 22nd, 23rd, on the February 24th, because on the 22nd and 23rd, they had cut off the water, and they had cut off the hot water, and they cut off the air. I decided that I had spoke to them after they cut these things off and told them that I wasn't being treated fairly. I still come home the next day, and the air conditioner or the hot water, one of the other, was cut off. So that day I complained to the previous owner, the person, Miss Carlette, and she said, you know what, I'm going to move you guys, so when you get home today, pack your stuff. I got another house for you. It's not as great, it's not as grand, but this is wrong. This man is evil. It's not right. So when we got home on the 24th, we went straight in and packed, and I run down the driveway, and to Junior and another friend of Miss Carlette's, who were waiting for us on the outside of the gate with a car and a van to take us to the new property. And I noticed the gate is chained, and I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? The gate is chained. I don't know if Junior was standing there, so I don't know if he saw them chain it or whatever, but either way, I'm communicating with Junior, and I noticed as I do that there is a small part of the fence that is low enough that we could possibly get over. So as soon as I noticed that, I turned and I started running back up the driveway and screaming to my family and friends, let's go, we getting out of here. So we start rolling the suitcases down the driveway, and with the children, because there was small children. My youngest daughter at the time was 7. My oldest daughter was 25. She was pregnant, and she had an 8-month-old baby. So we were putting an 8-month-old baby, a pregnant girl, a 7-year-old, 2 11-year-olds over this fence with these suitcases in this panic. So we get over, and then I'm very upset now. I'm talking to all the little boys, because everybody's starting to kind of come down the driveway. The house boys and Sean, they're kind of like standing around, and I'm screaming to them like, you guys are wrong. You guys are evil. Why are you following this man's order? Why would you chain us? Why would you do that? So anyway, so here we are on the 24th, when we finally get everybody over the gate, loaded up into the vans. I go straight to the Coral Gardens police station, which I believe kind of sits at the bottom of Montego Bay Hill or something. I don't know, because it wasn't far from where we were. We get there, I go inside, I speak to Officer E. Anderson, and he telling them what happened, and he gets on the phone and he calls Bishop, and he's talking to him, as you see on the video, and he's asking, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to come here? Do you want to come there? And Bishop is on the phone lying and saying that we didn't pay. So I pull up our information. That's ridiculous. Well, you have to pay in advance to get to Airbnb. To even enter the property, you have to have paid up in full. So anyway, we get in the car, we go back, we send the children off to the new property that Miss Carlette provided for us. And we go back with the police, and they're at the gate, as you see in the video, and they're trying to, Bishop is saying, oh, they're not allowed on my property, and they this, and you know, and I want to talk to you. The police is saying, I'll let you in, the police officers, but they can't come in. They don't, you know. So my friend is saying, well, that's ridiculous. He wants to talk to them in private. Why does he want to speak to them in private? You know, so eventually they convinced him to let us all walk right to the driveway. Inside the gate, there's a little gate he opens, and we're all standing there, and Bishop is just talking nonsense. He's just talking about the dispute between him and Miss Carlette and the property, and how, you know, how they wanted to inspect the property before we left. Like, you know, when you check out of a hotel, and okay, this is the thing, when you check out of a hotel, that's why they get your credit card for incidentals. So if you drank from the mini bar, you steal a pillow, then they just send you a bill. They don't chain you in the property until you can't leave. That's ridiculous, you know. So he was just saying all that kind of stuff. So the police just turned to me. I guess, you know, they just got tired of listening, and they turned to me and was like, you know what? There's nothing we can do. You need to contact the previous owner, because he talked more about the dispute. It kind of made the police believe that that's what it was about. And I kept saying, what are you talking about? That's ridiculous. I don't care what dispute they have. You don't chain us in the property. You don't turn the water off on them. Because even if there is a dispute, even if Miss Carlette was wrong, that doesn't turn you into the type of person that will falsely imprison some women and children and tell them they can't leave. What is those two different types of people? That you go to court with her and fight her for the Airbnb money if you feel you rightfully own it. What does that have to do with you making a decision to tell them to chain us in the property? And the question that I've always had is, what were you going to do with us?
You feel now, knowing what you now know?
Unbelievably grateful. Unbelievably grateful. Let me tell you something. It's a reason this all came back full circle. You understand? Because I never would have known what danger we were actually in, or whose presence we were actually in. Somebody who's capable of the things that he has now done. You know what I'm saying? We never would have thought that. Honestly, the worst case scenario we really thought is that they were going to try to force more money out of us. That's, you know, we had no idea this man is capable of this. This unbelievable. So I am so grateful, to be honest, knowing that I followed my instinct, because I could have easily just been like, oh, you know, it's too much hassle. We'll just stay here. You know, I could have easily not followed my intuition and not got everybody over that gate. But I'm so glad I did. I am so glad I did. Now that I'm finding this out, I realize that we were in more danger than we even realized that we were in. You know what I'm saying? And that's the part that makes me emotional, because it's like, Lord have mercy. God, if I didn't know that you were real and that you really protect me and my family, you know, from what could have happened to us, I know now, you know. So I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful. I'm so grateful. And at first, when I came home, I contacted a few newspapers and I tried to call a couple of lawyers, because I was going to go back and prosecute. But I got so much negativity and so many death threats from Jamaicans. Understand? Now, make no mistake, I say this all the time. There were so many Jamaicans that were kind and loving and wonderful people we met. But after I got home, I got threats and death threats, and said if I stepped foot back into Jamaica, that they were going to kill me. You understand? So I decided to let it go. You know, it wasn't worth it. Me and my family were back in America, and that's why I never proceeded from there. But I did reach out to the embassy, and they never responded. I did. Every Jamaican.
Which of the embassy never responded? The Jamaican High Commission?
Yes, I wrote letters. I wrote letters to them, you know, and nobody cared about what happened to us. So I let it go. And the fact that so many Jamaicans was like, you lying, what were you doing there? Just a whole bunch of negativity, you know, and now that this has come back, you know, full circle. Like I have to keep saying, there's a lot of kind Jamaicans who have reached out to me. It's a lot of kind people, because I had made the statement that I would never go back. I would never return, because it felt like the police didn't care. It felt like they didn't give a darn about what happened to us. You know what I'm saying? How do you not write it down? How do you not investigate? How do you not care that this man gave the order to chain us in the property? You know, how do you not care about that? So I did not feel that they had our back or cared about anything at all. And I did not feel safe in returning to try to prosecute him, which is why I let it go.
Do you think you'll still never come back to Jamaica? Do you think?
I don't think I can. You know, I had a great time. We went to the Dance River Falls. We went everywhere, but I can't because it was as many Jamaicans that were kind. It was just as many. If you read through the comments on some of my videos, it was just as many that were mean, that were evil, that were telling me it was my fault, that were, just, it was ridiculous. And no, if anybody times somebody tell you if you return here, we'll kill you. No, I'd be a fool to ever go back.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.